Hello everyone. Good morning or good evening. My name is Loksai. I'll be the instructor for this training program. Um, I can see still people are joining. We'll get another couple of minutes for everyone to join here. In the meantime, hope I'm audible to all right. People who are connected here. Can you all able to hear me well?
Yes, you are audible.
All right, thank you. How was the participants like?
Yes, it's audible.
All right, thank you. All right, I think we are good to start now. So, today it's very first day of our DevOps training program. So, I'd like to have a quick round of introduction about the people who are here. And also, I'd like to introduce the training modules, what are things you're going to learn as part of this course, and how the DevOps modules and the concepts you're going to learn will be helpful for your career, right? So, let me quickly share my screen. Right. So today we'll be learning about the introduction to DevOps. That is a plan, and I hope you all have your course curriculum, right? What are the topics you're going to learn as part of this training? Did you get a chance to go through that? You can unmute your line or you can use the chat window to respond. Guys, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes. So my question is like, did you get chance to go through the course content? Are you aware of what you're going to learn?
Yeah, for the DevOps course related, so they are paper learning host has challenges like that. So we need to work on that Linux and then the cloud system and some DevOps tools like Jenkins and Kubernetes.
Okay. So
Yeah,
hope you have a list something like this, right?
yeah, that is a challenge. This course content. So you can share this one to the from WhatsApp or anything.
No, we don't have a WhatsApp communication here. I'll be sharing it. We'll be getting it through our support team. Don't worry on that. And in addition to that, what are all the other supportive documentations for your training? We'll be providing it to you, right? Reference materials, everything. And also on daily basis, the class notes, whatever I'm going to prepare, I'll be sharing it with you, right? So hope it's a very first day for everyone, right?
Yeah, this is first year.
First day of your learning. So that's why a lot of silent participants here, huh?
Sorry for inconvenience. This is Yugandhar Chinchu. Good morning for everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, my office timings is 9 to 6 o'clock.
hmm
So, this is from the recording session or
Yeah. For initial 2 weeks, we'll be having a session during the morning, right? 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. weekdays. And from a second, third week onwards, we'll be having from, that is from 7th of
what I'm asking for you?
5th.
This is from the recording session. We'll be sharing from recording videos also,
Yeah,
no?
yeah. Recordings will be available for you. Don't worry on that.
So, means by
Okay.
through email or
We'll be sharing it. Your support team will be sharing the link to access these recordings.
okay, fine, fine.
All right. Yeah. All right. All right. So I can see a lot of silent participants, not sure whether are all actively available online or like just started the meeting. Okay, anyways. So first thing first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Loksai. I'm a DevOps architect. I do DevOps consulting as well as corporate trainings, right? With almost 17 plus years of experience in IT, I have involved in various application development projects as well as cloud adoptions. And currently, I'm working on DevOps implementations and legacy modernization for the customers, right? And when it comes to my corporate training experiences, I have handled various corporate batches like Avantis, Cognizant, IBM in order to fulfill their project as well as their tool specific requirements. I do regular conducts regular seminars and workshop for their resources to equip their skills on cloud as well as the DevOps, right? And I'm a AWS certified solutions architect professional, Azure certified system administrator, as well as Azure certified DevOps engineer expert, right? And coming to my training, right? So with my experience, I'm able to share what are all the real-time scenarios we have to go throughout this implementation. And my approach will be mostly based upon the practical approach. Like I'll be explaining you the concepts, even there are a fresher because I have seen most of the batches, right? I can see I have while handling corporate as well as retail, I can see a lot of freshers as well as laterals are there in the team. So my approach will be based upon the freshers perspective since this training curriculum is promptly created on freshers perspective, right? So I'll start from the scratch, ensure that I cover all the concepts in detail with the real-time examples and scenarios. And all that I'm expecting from you people is like, please be regular to the session, and please make the sessions more interactive. If you're unable to understand anything, please do not allow me to move to next topic. Correct? Because here the training, what we're going to conduct, it is not just for our profile, right? Or just to prepare your resume and look for job. It's all some real-time cases we are going to learn here. Correct. So with this knowledge, definitely you can able to implement, okay, in your real-time environment. That is how we are going to share the details. So I need all your presence. I need all your interaction, and just start asking questions, and please make it more interactive, because only if you guys are interactive I can able to provide more from my end. Okay, that is one thing I would like to highlight here. Hope it helps. All
Yes,
right. Yep.
sure.
Fine. So coming to this course curriculum, right? Like I hope you must be having this list of topics what we're going to cover. So first we'll be starting with the DevOps overview, where we'll be understanding the core capabilities of DevOps. What is DevOps? Why we use DevOps? What are its capabilities and how it is going to add value to your career? So tomorrow, as a DevOps engineers or as a DevOps associate, what will be your roles and responsibilities? Right? On that perspective, we'll be discussing about the very first module, and then we'll be learning about the fundamentals of your Linux operating system, which is something required for any DevOps resource. Right? And then we'll be getting into the fundamentals of Python scripting. So the intention here is to strengthen your operating system as well as your scripting language skills before we actually move into the DevOps module. That's why we have added these two modules at the very initial stage. All right. And then we'll be getting into the core DevOps modules. Like we'll be learning about the Git and GitHub, its features, right? And we'll be learning about the build tools that helps to automate the application builds and deployments. We'll be learning about Jenkins, or containerization using Docker, and then we'll be learning about Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform, right? So maybe for the very first day, you must be wondering about all these terminologies. So don't worry. At least by end of today's session or by tomorrow's session, you'll be getting a clarity about what all these things are all about. Okay, you'll be getting a complete overview of all this. That's what the DevOps intro module, right? And then we'll be moving into the next level using your Azure Cloud and Azure DevOps related stuff. Easy. Any question on this?
No, look, sir.
All right. So now, what is DevOps? But before I talk about this, okay, I just want to understand from you people, okay, who are you? Why you are here? What made you choose this course? I just want to have a quick introduction about you, because just to make the things, better, because I don't want to follow my own template and proceed with the things. Okay, if you can share your requirement, what you're actually expecting from me, right? If you share your requirements, I can able to plan the sessions accordingly, so that it will be more progressive, I believe. Right? So if possible, you can use your chat window or you can unmute your line and just tell me about yourself. What is your current profile? What you are expecting from this? Okay, what made you choose this course?
Maybe I can go first.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
Hi, it's Pranali. So, for me, I have 4 years of experience as a software developer, but I have worked on DevOps tools like Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker, and yeah, those things. And I wanted to switch my career as a DevOps engineer. That's why I chose this course.
Okay, so currently you're working on a DevOps project.
No, 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 no. I just I took a break for 1 or 2 months, and I started this course.
Okay, so you worked on Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform means it's related to your previous project, right?
Yeah, but like
Okay,
not for like a whole 4 years, just 7 to 8 months all
okay,
those years.
got it, got it. So fine, fine then. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Hello. Hi, this is Priya.
Hello, hello, Priya.
I'm having a experience of total 7 years, but in telecom industry. Now I want to switch in IT. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
opting this course. And right now I am not working. I have left my job for 2 years. I have a 2 years of gap.
Okay, so telecom means what is your technical background like?
Technical background, I have completed MTech, engineering in computer
No,
science.
no, related to your job profile. Have you
Job
worked
profile,
in
it
any?
was completely material inventory.
Okay, all right, fine. That's good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. We'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Yugundar Chinchu. I'm having 4 years of
Hello.
experience. Yeah, hi Lokesh. Hi Loksai.
Yep.
Good morning. This is
Yep.
Yugundar Chinchu. I'm having 4 years of experience in Java backend application. So I have knowledge on front end also. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm learned interested in updating of my skill set from the DevOps. That is some reason I doing this course.
Perfect. Perfect. So from Java development to DevOps.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Good.
Nowadays
That's a
asking
good
from
move.
nowadays
Yeah, that's a
asking
good
from
move
the
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, because any developer, and this is for everyone here, okay, any people from development background or testing background or administrations, right? So I think you started your year very well, okay, with learning DevOps. Definitely, it will add more value to your profile this year. You can see.
Yeah. Everybody asking
Fine.
from the DevOps, na Docker and Kubernetes and
Perfect.
Jenkins tools.
Perfect. So any freshers completely new to this IT and just completed and looking forward?
Hi,
Yeah,
Loksai. Uh,
Yeah.
my
Yes.
name is Ajit. I'm a final year student.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to switch over into as a DevOps engineer, so that's why I take this course.
You're not going to switch over. You're going to start actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Before I learned songs,
That's good. That's a good move actually, right? So being a final year student while coming out of your college, you'll be having your profile ready for your job hunt, right? That's good. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Okay. From the scratch, we'll be learning a lot of things. And please come out of your college mindset. The training, what we're going to learn here, it is not meant as like your college semester examinations, right?
um,
So here we're not preparing for any semester examinations or any other exams. It is purely meant
no,
for your career, right? So anyone want
Hi,
to share?
hi, sir. This is Abhishek.
Yeah,
Yeah, as I'm a 2024 batch pass out student,
good.
so, so
Welcome.
directly I'm going to the DevOps. So is it affect my something means I don't have any experience.
What's your technical, I mean,
Yeah, in
specialization? IT
electronics and
or CS?
communication.
Electronics and communication, right? So you have
Yeah,
broad area. Okay, so we'll talk about it. But okay, if you wanted to move to DevOps, I mean IT, this will
yeah.
definitely be helpful for you. Hmm?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Right? Fine. I'll talk about that. Don't worry. So anyone
Hi, Loksai.
experience? Hi.
Yeah, I'm Mohsin Patel. I have
Mm-hmm.
3 year experience in the software industry, and I'm a DBA guy, like this database administration. So I need to
Mm-hmm.
move my career as a DevOps engineer. So I have worked with the DevOps guy right now in the project. It's like I have worked on Git, GitHubs, and U-Deploy agent,
Mm-hmm.
and some monitor tool also I'm using like AutoSys and some Grafana. So for that monitoring the applications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you involve in scripting like DevOps scripts or
No,
like
no. So that scripting part also I'm not working on that one.
Okay. So you're just supporting the guy, DevOps guy
Just
for the
supporting
database.
that
Yeah. All right.
application for that one, for
Yeah.
that patching and all the activities
Got
we
it.
are deploying on this DBA.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Hi, Loksai. This is Monisha. I have
Hello.
9 years of experience,
Yeah.
wherein it is a very suit. I was working as a implementer, and then as per the client requirement, we used to like basically I was taking care of the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I want to upgrade my skills, wherein I have to uh, take my career forward. So just wanted to get into this. Like I want to learn this DevOps and then this Kubernetes and Dockers I can apply in my current project as well. So just wanted to learn on that.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Hi, Lux. This is Sanju here. So
Yeah.
I have a total of 4 years experience in Linux system engineer. So I'm actually looking forward to move over to the DevOps.
Perfect. So what is your day-to-day activities, like your current role? Like,
It's basically we are managing the Linux servers and handling the daily to clients.
okay, so something into infrastructure,
Yes, like managing the servers and
right?
assisting the clients with technical.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, and people, you can use your chat window also. Okay, like I can take it from there as well. Yeah. Yes. Anyone? Okay.
Hello, Sai. This is Sayed Mohammed.
Hello, sir.
Currently working in CRM application domain. I have over 8 years of experience in it.
Mm-hmm.
My day-to-day activities are involving in uh, application development, little bit of testing, and currently I'm working on on-site for a
Mm-hmm.
BFSI domain client. So here we are using OpenShift containerization platform here.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit knowledge of OCP.
Mm-hmm.
I do like manual deployment, like uh, patches, builds like that. And sometimes I do the scanning of the images using this Red Hat ACH tool like that. But I wanted to put my career into completely DevOps and
Okay.
cloud. So that's a motive here to be joining this course.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Perfect. You are at the right place. Thank you. Yep. I can see your responses, Jyoti, on your chat window. Thanks for that. Okay. So anyone like to go next, or like are we good?
Hello, sir. This is Duvesh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm desktop support engineer. I have 1 year experience, and now I want to move on for DevOps.
1 year's experience.
Yes, sir. Desktop support engineer.
Desktop support. Okay. Okay. Got it. Fine. Thank you. Thanks, Dubesh. Yeah. All right. So if thanks for sharing all. It just helps, right? So to understand, and even from here, so we can understand people, others, even the freshers, especially, right? So people who are already experienced in different streams, they want to move to DevOps, right? And how it is going to add value, right? That matters. So now let's get introduction to our DevOps now. So the very first thing is definitely you must have done some research, right, before joining this training, especially DevOps, because we have a lot of technologies. Out of that, if you choose DevOps means definitely there should be a reason for that, right? So according to you, what is DevOps? Like what you came across, like the terminology, or what is your understanding on that?
So as per my
Anyone?
knowledge, so that is DevOps is two parts. That is a development section and operation section. So we are working on that release management and some monitoring tools like this. We are working on the DevOps.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Any other innovative thoughts?
So Sayed, DevOps is a combination of development and operation. And the main goal of this one is to shorten the software development cycle, like using CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous development, sorry, delivery.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for that. Okay. So in order to justify this term DevOps, in order to understand the actual importance of DevOps, right? So we have to look back. Okay, look back and understand how this IT and the software applications are getting developed. What are all the process involved as part of the software development, and how we can able to optimize it. What are all the various stages we have optimized the process, right? So that is the reason we have included the very first module called evolution of your SDLC process. So I hope you all aware of the term SDLC, right? SDLC in the sense software
Development life
development
cycle.
life cycle. So when we say software development life cycle, it is going to provide you some set of protocols that helps to develop your software. Okay, but before you actually develop the software, first you need to understand the term. What is a software? What are the software applications we are going to develop? That matters. So when we talk about the applications, right, software applications, the applications, whatever we will develop, it can be for any, business. Like it can be meant for your desktop applications, right? Or it can be your web applications, right? Or it can be your mobile applications. The mobile applications, whatever you, it's all a software application, right? And even your embed application, right? Embedded application means chip level programming. The software applications are embedded in the microchips, right? All your IoT devices, right? So like this, we have various types of applications that are being used. Okay, so in current generation, each and every layman, even I'm talking about a layman actually, okay, any individual, definitely they'll be using a software in any of these forms, either in their mobile device or as a web portal or through desktop application or any device they use, right? Microchip that involves. So now, how this software is developed? Okay, what are all the process we have to do? Let's say if you want to create a software package or application, what are all the steps we have to follow? That is what your SDLC is going to recommend. So if you consider the process of SDLC, we have various stages. Like whenever we get any requirement from a customer to develop any type of application, first we have to analyze the requirement, right? We need to understand what is the requirement is all about, whether it is feasible to do that or not. How much time will it take to complete? What are all the technologies and tools we're going to use? How many resources I want to deploy? What is the cost? So all these things has to be thoroughly analyzed initially. Once that analysis is completed, whatever you analyze, right, it has to be properly documented with proper designs. And the one once it is documented, that will be subjected to development. And upon development, we'll do a testing and then implementation. So any SDLC, right, process that involves various stages. First thing is your requirement analysis. And the second stage is design. and document. And the third stage is your development. That means coding. And once it is done, we'll be going for testing. We'll be testing the application code, and then we'll be getting into the implementation to production environment. That is a live environment. And finally, we'll be implementing some sort of monitors and maintenance. Correct. So these are all the various stages of SDLC process. People who have completed the graduation recently, you must be having one paper, right, on your CS or your IT subject, right? And people who are already working, definitely you must have gone through all these stages of your development, especially the developers. Now, already we have this process. And what are all the various protocols we're going to use here? Means your typical SDLC process, your traditional approach, right? It uses agile waterfall model. Okay, waterfall model. Waterfall model means it is a protocol or it is a process that helps to develop the software. This also perform all these activities. Using waterfall model, we can able to work on all these stages, but it is having its own unique properties. So this waterfall model, it was promptly meant for monolith applications. Correct? So it is linear in fashion, and it supports the top-down approach. Correct? And it is created or meant for monolith application architecture. So just a few pointers. Right. So don't worry about the terminologies. The term might be something different for you people. What is monolith? And I'll talk about that in detail in the upcoming sessions. Right. So now the point here is how this waterfall model helps to develop software that matters. So let's take one example. Consider I got a requirement from one of my customers and they want to develop any application. Like if you want, you can take a desktop application for that matter. Okay, my requirement is to develop one desktop application. Let it be like anything, like you know what is the desktop application, right? Any application that you install on the desktop machine, right? So let's say we are going to develop an application for a supermarket billing system. Okay, supermarket billing system that you can see on any supermarkets, right? Which they use for billing the products and maintain the product inventories, right? So this is a software application I want to develop for one of my customers. And a customer, once they comes with the requirement, I mean the project, right? So first we have to understand the requirement in detail. Okay, that is what the requirement analysis phase is going to do all about. So first thing is understand the requirement, because customers will be sharing the requirements on a high level. So we have to, that means the application architects, the application owners, leads, they'll be continuously interacting with the client to understand their requirements in detail. Say, for example, if this is a project, what are all the functions we are going to implement? Okay, so these functions are also called as the modules. Say, for example, if it is a supermarket application software, what are things we can do there? Any guess? What are the functions we can have in that software?
So billing
Inventory,
module.
Okay.
Items, products name.
Okay. So first thing
inventory.
is inventory.
Inventory management.
Inventory management, right? That means what are all the products we have to properly manage those product list. And then definitely I need to prepare the user interface, right? User interface means the operator who is going to access this application, they should be able to interact with the application. The GUI has to be prepared here, right? And then the database to manage it. And what else we can have here? We can able to maintain the payment module functionalities, right? And the payment also can be based upon various categories, like it can be your cash payment or it can be your card payment, right? Payment modes, right? And then generating a build, right? Like this, there are a lot of functions we can able to identify in this application. So all these things has to be analyzed in detail. So this analysis, right, will be doing with the customers and their stakeholders, the application team, the application owners, everyone will be involved. We'll be conducting a regular meetings and conversations to understand the requirements. And once the requirement is clear, right, we have to document it because it's all happened over the conversation, right? Oral conversation. So we have to properly document the requirement. What are things you understood from the customer? It has to be properly documented, and we can able to prepare some design documents also for supportive to make the requirements clear for both the parties, right? So once the documentation is ready with the requirement, will be getting the sign off from the customer. Customer have to approve the design. What are the expectations we have from the customer, whether we are documented everything or not? Like it includes the completion, time for completion, the number of resources you're going to use, the tools, the technology, the cost, everything will be finalized here. Once it is done, then it will be subjected to development. The developers will be using the design to do their coding, and there should not be any deviation from the flow. And once the coding is done, what all the functions the developers are creating, it has to be thoroughly tested. And upon thorough testing, it can be implemented to production environment. And once it is implemented production environment, we can do a regular maintenance and monitoring of that application for business continuity. Got it? So these are the steps involved using your waterfall model. But the main problem in waterfall model is its basic property. It always follows the top-down approach, and it is linear in fashion. So what it means here, using waterfall model, if you are developing this software means it has to flow, the work should flow from top to bottom. Once the requirement is analyzed, it has to be documented. Once the document is approved, you have to strictly follow the document till you implement the process. There should not be any deviation in the flow. You cannot go back and revisit the document or change the document in between. It is not possible. So that is the main drawback of your waterfall model. Say for an example, consider I got a requirement to develop this desktop application, and we have identified the list of functions we are going to develop. And assume that as part of this requirement analysis, I just identified around 12 months to complete the project, the complete overall project. As I'm just giving some figure. So in this 12 months of time, I have to complete all the mentioned functions and it should be live. That's what the expectation. So the project already started, documentation is done, and assume that we are almost in the fifth month of the project. Got it? So during the fifth month of the project, definitely there'll be some development and testing will be happening, correct? Based upon the design, there'll be some sort of development and test activity will be there. During this time, if customer wants to make some changes in the requirement, they want to add new features or they want to remove any feature, means it is not possible using waterfall model, because waterfall model will strictly follow the top-down approach. Once the review design is documented done, you have to strictly follow the document. Let's say a customer wants to add new feature here, like along with this cash and card payment, They want to support their online, uh, any kind of UPI payments mode they want to introduce. They realized it in the fifth month of their development, and they want to introduce this feature as part of the existing project itself. Is that possible here? No. Using waterfall model, we cannot accommodate it. Then how we can able to accommodate new feature means, if you are using waterfall model, the new feature will be altogether considered as a new project. If you want, you can consider this as your core project. In core project, fulfill all the things that you analyzed initially, and then whenever the customer is coming with a new requirement, you can consider that as an enhancement. Correct. So that new changes, whatever you want to introduce, that also has to be properly analyzed, designed, documented, and developed and implemented. So that is how the waterfall model works. Can you understand? Why? Because in waterfall model, the entire application, you can have hundreds of functions. All these things will be developed as one software application. It will be deployed all together. So if you look into this scenario, just tell me one thing, like, can we make the customer to wait for 12 months to introduce a new feature? Hmm? If
No,
customer is looking for any requirement or any of service, can we make the customer to wait for another 10 months or 12 months?
no, no.
Maybe in initial days, right, when software IT was introduced, like during 1980s and during 1970s, right? By the time also there are a lot of software products developed. By the time it was acceptable because there were no much architecture. There are a lot of dependencies in implementation. So by the time, yes, it was acceptable. But in today's business, in today's scenario, we cannot make any customer to wait for the product delivery. If the customer decides as early as possible, we should onboard that feature. We should able to prepare the software and deliver to the customer. That is what the current scenario. So if that is the case, if you're still relying on your waterfall model, you cannot accommodate the changing business needs. So to overcome this, what we do here is we were introduced to a concept called agile methodologies. Okay. So that is what the evolution, right? So from your waterfall model, we were introduced to agile methodology. Agile methodology means it is basically introduced to overcome the major drawback of your waterfall model. What is the main drawback here? We cannot accommodate any new changing business needs. Why? Because the applications, whatever we're going to develop using waterfall model, are tightly coupled. A lot of dependencies are integrated together. So to overcome this, we have to bring agility to the process. Okay, whatever the requirement comes in, we should be able to quickly accept the requirement and implement it. So on that perspective, we have introduced this agile methodologies, and this agile methodologies also follows the SDLC process. It is not something new. Okay, after all, it is also going to follow the same SDLC process. Here also, we want to understand the requirement in detail, design everything. If you want, you can take the same example here. Assume that using agile methodology, we are trying to develop one desktop application. So what are all the functions we are going to identify here, right? Each and every function here, it is considered as an iteration. So why it is called as an iteration means any iteration, any function we are going to develop, it can be independently developed, independently tested and implemented. So using this agile methodologies, proper approvals. Let's say, for example, if you want to develop this software, let it be like this. I want to prepare this particular application. So in agile methodology, we are not going to develop the application on the whole. First, we have to take one function that is considered as iteration 1. So this iteration 1 is something meant for my inventory management. So this particular function will be analyzed in detail. It will be designed, developed, tested, and then implemented. Similarly, the next iteration can be meant for your user interface design, right? And the third iteration, it can be meant for your payment, anything like that. Right? It can be for your cash payment or your what is it, card payment or whatever. So like this, any requirements we have from the customer, we can able to independently work on that requirement as an iteration, and it can be independently deployed to the production environment also with proper approvals. So while you are working on this particular flow, if customer wants to introduce any new feature, if they are looking for any new feature, we can able to have that feature here. That's not an issue. We can consider it as an, sorry, nth iteration. And you can able to add that feature here. So here the main advantage of using agile methodology is we can able to bring agility to our SDLC process. We can able to listen to customer and understand their requirements and implement it at any point of time. Customer no need to wait for the implementation. Easy? Any question on this? So now you can understand difference between your agile and waterfall, right?
So, sorry, I have a doubt here. So, you have told it as a iteration, right? So, for example, at first stage itself, I want to do some changes.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yeah. Good, please.
Iteration one, for example, inventory management is there. So we
Mhm.
are doing this payment stuff at iteration three. So if I want to add something to iteration one, will
Mhm.
that be accepted with agile methodology?
Yeah, just create one more iteration for the new
Uh-huh.
changes, whatever you identified.
Okay.
Got it. So
Yeah.
instead of dumping all these new incremental changes in the same iteration,
Okay.
if you find anything to be updated here, added here, like say, for example, assume that you designed something and while you're coding, you got to know that you missed something or you want to add new features, means just create one iteration immediately and start working on it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we can able to assign the things to the developers or the application team to take it further.
Okay.
Got it? Easy. Any other question on this? Hope I'm making things clear to everyone, right? Are you guys able to manage my face or I'm going fast?
It is perfect.
It is fine for me.
All right, fine. So now, what are all the capabilities of this agile methodologies? Okay, what are all the features or what are all the capabilities of this agile methodologies that we'll see now? So when I say agile methodologies, using agile methodologies, we can able to perform continuous development. First point. That means any requirement comes in place, we can able to quickly assign the requirement and start the development activities with proper analysis, right? And also we can able to achieve continuous integration. It means once my changes are ready, I am able to continuously integrate my changes for further testing. And the next important thing is we can able to perform continuous testing here. So once the changes are integrated for further testing, we can able to perform the continuous testing and ensure that the iteration or the feature, whatever we have introduced, it is working as expected. And then we can able to achieve continuous delivery. Right. So these are the 4 important capabilities of your agile methodologies. When agile method was introduced, right, it was a very progressive one. Most of the organizations, they are eager to adopt to this methodology, right? Because by the time it is like very good change in the process. But the main point here is we cannot achieve continuous deployment. So using agile methodologies, we cannot achieve continuous deploy. Sorry, I mentioned development, right? It is deployment. So using agile methodologies, we cannot achieve the continuous deployment. Means we can able to achieve continuous delivery, but we cannot achieve the continuous deployment. So what is continuous delivery and deployment means? Both are meant for production implementation. Whenever the product is ready, we should able to continuously deliver the product for production environment. So to implement the product in production environment, what is your approach? Whether you're using your continuous delivery approach or deployment approach, that matters. So in short, if you're talking about continuous delivery means it expects a manual approvals for production release. Okay. And if it is your continuous deployment, it is completely automated. It will never expects any manual approval for production release. So without any manual intervention, you can able to release your product to production environment. That is what your continuous deployment means. So while we were using agile methodology, right, we found that this was a very progressive one. But over the period of time, when the number of services, number of iterations are getting increased, right? So here, if you see this process of implementation, once the testing is completed, the implementation of production should be done with proper approval, right? That is the main issue here. Already we are strictly following the design document. We have done a thorough testing. Even after thorough testing, why I need this manual approval? Because it is creating some delay in the process, right? So that is one of the major drawbacks in your agile methodologies. So to overcome this issue only, we were introduced to DevOps. Right, I'll talk about all these things in detail. Don't worry about it. But as of now, understand, okay, because over the period of time while we are implementing something, right, you should understand the benefits and disadvantages of that process. Like how you understood your waterfall model here, which leads to agile methodology. So now from agile, which is leading to DevOps. Understood? Hope you all getting my point, right? Now,
Yes.
now, when we say DevOps, you can able to address this question now. What is DevOps? The very first question which I asked you, right? Where is it? This one. Okay. And even before you address this question, can you able to figure out why we cannot achieve this continuous deployment in agile methodology? Because here we are doing this process application development considering each and every module in detail. We do a detailed analysis, detailed design, development, testing, and then implementation. So if I'm able to independently develop my product, independently test my product, why I depend upon my stakeholders for their approval? Any guess? Can you able to figure out anything here? Any guess?
I have a guess, like, so how we are doing iterations are part by part. Like, for payment, there is one iteration. For inventory, there is one iteration. So we need all those things together. Then only we can show it to stakeholders.
Yeah, of course, that will be integration part. Okay, there is no issues on that. Definitely we'll be doing it. We are not going to deliver it in bits and pieces. End of the day, it is going to run as an application, complete application, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, if you can able to develop your product, if you can able to thoroughly test your product, why you are expecting the manual approvals? Why can't I directly promote it to the production environment? Any thoughts? See, guys, this is how what, okay, you have to come forward and think about these scenarios. Like people who are already experienced, I can see some of the experienced people are here, right? Tomorrow, if you want to implement DevOps, you have to talk to your customers. You have to talk to your stakeholders. You should make them understand the importance of DevOps. So all these discussions, all these points will be helpful for you. These document, what I'm prepared to be sharing with you. All right. So just try to come up with your pointers. Before we approach a customer, we should have some points to discuss, right? Any guess?
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Whether it is possible to implement in their workplace. So we want to get the manual approval from them for this case only.
Means?
Whether it is practically possible for their concern at the place.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible.
So you're asking why you are getting manual approval, right?
Why we need manual approval from the stakeholders? Without manual intervention, can't I promote my product?
No, because finally they are the customers, right? Without their approval, how can we proceed to the next step?
See, customers, let's say in my application, this is my application. Okay, it's a small desktop application, that's fine. What if I develop a web application? What if I develop a mobile application? So if you consider any web application like your e-commerce portal or banking softwares, there'll be thousands and thousands of functions there, right?
It might be regulatory or
Correct.
complement requirement
So
or
there'll be thousands of
critical failure
functions
in
will be
production.
there, and manually I can't expect approval for each and every function. It is a time consuming process. So that is the reason we were looking for alternative approach using DevOps. So the point here is whenever we get any requirement from the customer, if you are using agile methodologies, you just take that particular function, analyze, design, test, and implement. Agile methodology, right? The mindset of the agile is completely based upon the task-based approach. We consider this as one task. The task has to be properly reviewed and I mean analyzed, developed, tested, and implemented. While you're working on this particular iteration, you will least bother about other iteration. What others are doing, what is their task actually? Because of your changes, will there be any impact on the other changes or not? Got it? Similarly, assume that as a developer, you have completed this module and you're ready for production implementation. As like that, you cannot push your changes to production because this guy will be relying on your input or it will be having some dependencies. So you have to wait for this as to be completed and reviewed. So in agile methodologies, people are working on silos. That means individually they are working for their own task. development team will not have any idea about what the testing team is doing actually. Once the changes are ready, they just push it to test environment. Testing team, they'll be having their own SLA, they'll be having their own process to test their changes, right? So let's say a testing team, if they are expecting around 10 days, 10 working days to complete the testing means we will not have any clarity about what they're exactly doing for those 10 days. Once they provide the report, we'll get to know about it. So it means everyone are working on their own phase, right? So there should be one governing authority who should govern all these iterations. They should seek approval from the stakeholders before they promote to the production environment. So it means who are all involved in the process, they do not have proper collaboration between them to develop the software, test the software, release the software. So that collaboration is what the very important thing to be considered to achieve continuous deployment. So DevOps, after all, DevOps is also a software development strategy. Okay. As like your waterfall model, as like your agile methodologies, this DevOps is also a software development strategy. But the main agenda here is promotes. What is going to promote now? It is going to promote the collaboration. Okay. It is used to promote the collaboration between the teams. So teams means promptly will be considering the development team. And the operations team. So why we have development team and operations teams on priority means if you take any IT service industry, developers and the development team are the core assets. They are the people who are developing the business application. If you are from testing background or if you are working for any infrastructure management or if you're working for release activities, you are all working for developers only. Got it? So we highlight development team and all other teams involved the process, like a testing team, your release management team, your operation teams, right? All these people, all these teams comes under the operations. Are you getting a point? So ultimately, DevOps strategy helps to promote the collaboration between the teams, like development team and the operations teams, in order to achieve what are you going to achieve here? Continuous development, continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Okay. So using DevOps, we are going to achieve all these things with proper collaboration between the teams. And how we're going to achieve means in more automated fashion. Simple as that. So if you go through this statement, can you able to understand what is DevOps now? Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense now?
Yes.
So during your interview or anyone asked about what is DevOps, initially you gave some responses like it is a combination of development and operations. No, it's not like that. You should justify, okay, what it is all about. When you say operations, you should know who are there. Got it? And using DevOps, what we are going to achieve. Let's say I have I've developed a proper collaboration between the teams. All teams are working together. They know what others are doing. But still, if I proceed with the manual approach, there's no use. I have to introduce some automation, right? What are the process? What are the activities we do? We have to automate. Then only it will be considered as a successful DevOps implementation. You see? So I repeat, DevOps is a software development strategy. As like your agile model or waterfall model, this is also, after all, a software development process. And this also follows each and every stage of your SDLC, starting from requirement analysis till implementation. But it helps to promote the collaboration between the teams like development team and the operation teams in order to achieve continuous development till continuous monitoring with more automated process. Easy? Any question here? If you're clear with this point, then only we can move on to the next level. Is it clear to everyone here?
Yeah.
Even the freshers or the non-IT people, I mean, people from different streams, are you guys able to understand what it is or any confusions here?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone, whatever question, please let me know. So at least today's takeaway, you are clear, right? As part of the introduction module. All right. Thanks for those responses. Now, the next question is how to implement DevOps. That is the next important thing to consider, because now we understood what is DevOps. Assume that I have a customer and they are promptly working on their own traditional agile methodologies. Okay, they develop a lot of services and they have a lot of teams involved, but still they're unable to know achieve their continuous deployment or unable to speed up their process. So if they are looking for a DevOps solution, how we are going to implement that solution? That should be the next thing to be considered. So in order to implement DevOps, if you want, you can start from this, we can decode this itself. Okay. So it is a strategy. I agree. Now, the main objective of the strategy is to promote the collaboration between the teams, right? So if you want to implement DevOps, the very first thing you need to understand is who are all the people involved in the process, like what are all the teams involved in the process. So throughout my SDLC process, in SDLC, throughout this SDLC process, who are all the teams involved? We have to bring all these teams together. That's what the collaboration, right? So any guess who are all the teams involved in the SDLC process?
Consultants or business analyst.
My question is not about the individual role or a designation. I'm talking at the team level.
Developer.
Again, you're talking about the individual role.
The customer side, where we require the requirement.
Okay. Customer.
Development team.
And mention as a RAC.
And then
Okay. You can consider as a development team. Fine then.
architects.
Architects. Again, you're talking about the individual role.
Testing team.
Testing team.
Okay. Testing team.
Designer team.
Designer team. Okay. Instead of individual, you're adding one term team there. Huh?
Operations team.
Operations. Operations means? What do you mean by operations here?
I think DevOps engineers who will be performing the operations.
What kind of operation?
Setting the servers.
Okay. So please remember this term. The term what you used is DevOps team.
Okay.
What is it? Can you repeat once again?
Operations team.
DevOps team will do the operations, right? Setting
Yes.
up the servers. That's what your point, right? Just keep this point in mind. I'll come back to that, okay, in some time.
Okay.
Fine. So now, to clearly understand who are all the people or teams involved in the process, the first and foremost thing is your infrastructure management team. In any IT services, right? If you want to avail any IT resource, there'll be an infrastructure management team who are responsible to provision the server. That means create the server and configure the server. Let's say I have a developer. If the developer wants to work on any project, the developer should be allocated with one workstation, right? They should be provided with one computing device. It can be a laptop or desktop machine. And in that laptop or desktop machine, they should have the required software to be installed and configured. Similarly, consider I have done with my development. I want to do my testing. I need a test environments, right? With all the testing tools configured. And if I want to implement a production environment, I need some production servers. So this IT infrastructure management team are the first one to be considered because they are the people who are going to provision and configure the entire infrastructure. Clear? Second comes your application development team. So all your roles, you said about the business analyst, your application owners, the leads, architects, developers, all these guys comes under this category, under this team actually. They are the core people who develop the business logic, who interact with the customer and understand the customer's requirement, prepare the design documentations, and prepare the solutioning everything, right, through the script or code, right? And then comes your testing team. There'll be a dedicated testing team. Why we have a separate testing team? Why can't we have application team to test their software? Means just to have a third view of the particular product, because whatever the developers created, right, we should have one third person to test the changes so that we can able to figure out the actual gap in development, right? So we'll be having a dedicated testing team, and the testing team will be performing various levels of testing, starting from the quality analysis or UAT, right? So I'll talk about that. What are the primary roles of testing team? I'll talk about it in some time. And once the product is tested, what next? It has to be released to production environment. So we'll be having a release management team. So these are the people who are responsible to take a call whether to release a product or not. These are the people who always ensure that the products are delivered on time. Let's say upon testing, I have implemented some changes to production environment. Unfortunately, the changes, whatever I implement now, it is not working as expected. What we should do?
Again, rework.
We have to revert the changes or we have to fix the changes. So that decision will be taken by these people. Okay. And another important thing is once the product is released to production environment, what next? There are some teams like production support team, or we'll be having something called production monitoring team. So these guys are responsible to monitor the production environment 24/7, just to understand and ensure that the production environment is up and running as per the expectation. If there's any deviation, immediately these people will respond and allocate the task to the concerned team to immediately fix the issue. All right. So apart from this, there'll be a team called IT security team. So these guys are very critical, okay, like in your agile methodologies or in your traditional process also, these guys comes at the end, and their role is to check whether the product whatever we develop, the infrastructure whatever we use, the tools whatever we use, all these things are aligned to the company security policy. For example, consider I'm using one software to develop my application. I'm using a Java JDK package. The JDK, whatever I use, whether it is from the authorized service provider or it is open source tool, whether it is properly scanned for all sort of vulnerabilities and threats, whether it is having proper certificates enabled, all those things will be properly scrutinized by this security team. They are responsible to ensure that the software, whatever we develop and deliver to production, it is as per the company's security policy. So clear to all?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the support team and monitoring team, sir?
So support
Mm.
team, they just do the 24/7 support. Okay, like if there is any issue occurs, they can able to quickly, identify the issue. If they can able to immediately fix it, it's well and good. Otherwise, they can route it to the concerned team. But monitoring team means, based upon your DevOps implementation, we are introducing some dedicated team to monitor the infrastructure. Their role is to continuously monitor the infrastructure using some monitoring tools. All right. So on a high level, if you see, both the teams are going to perform the same activity, but their core task will vary. So these guys will be responsible to set up some synthetic monitors, set up some dashboards, right? Set up some alerts and notifications. All those things can be taken care by these monitoring team. Correct. But production support team, they just ensure that if there any issue occurs in production, they just quickly, let's say they are using a production server. One of the production server is getting into drain state. It is not responding. So there should be a team that should immediately respond to that, right? To bring that system up and running. Who's going to do that? It is a production support team, not the monitoring team. Clear?
So, sir,
Yes, sir.
my question is, production supports if he like getting any issues,
Hmm.
so he just like register or anything like written in the what where we are getting the issue, or just like resolve also the resolve these issues.
So you said right one point where the issues occurs. So that will be monitored with the help of this monitoring team. So these guys will be monitoring the infrastructure and where exactly issue occurs that can be captured with the help of this monitoring tools. And if it is quickly resolved, fixable, your support team can able quickly fix it. Otherwise, they'll be creating a support ticket and it will be assigned to the concerned team for immediate remedy.
Okay, understood.
Clear? So we are discussing about DevOps, and in that we are seeing the very first thing how to implement DevOps. To implement DevOps, the very first entity here is the team, the people who are involved in the process. Am I clear? Is that understandable to everyone here or like any
Yes, sir.
confusions? Let's make it more interactive here because if you want to, you can have a quick break also. I don't have any problem. Okay, if you're feeling like 2 hours very tight to sit, if
No,
you need
sir,
a quick
no
break, let me
issues.
know. We can have a quick break, but I need all your 100% attention here. Shall we proceed to the next
Yes,
thing?
sir.
Yeah, you can continue.
Fine. So once you identify the team for the implementation, another important thing is the environments. We have to be very clear about the various environments we are going to use for the application builds and deployments. So environment means the computing environment. In general, it is categorized as two levels. One is a non-prod environment, and then we'll be having something called production environment, right? So under non-prod environment, we can have some dev environments. We can have some build environment. we can have some test environments. Under testing, we can have something like QA testing or UAT testing. It depends. So QA means quality assurance testing, and UAT means user acceptance testing. So once the testing is completed thoroughly, then the changes will be implemented to production environment. So it means developer will prepare their application source code in the dev environment. It is completely owned by developers, and they can able to build the changes in the build environment. I'll talk about what is build in detail. And once the application is built, it can be tested in the test environment, and finally it can be promoted to the production environment where we can have some production servers. Right. So this is what the infrastructure or the environment that is going to take care of the application workflow. So from dev environment, how the application can flow till production. This is one thing. Why we need to understand this particular entity means using our DevOps strategy, we are going to automate this. Once developers ready with the code, from this dev environment, we are going to automate the code build, code test, and then code promotion. So in order to do these things, you have to understand the path, right? What are the various stages you have to cross? That we need to be very clear. And it depends, it varies customers to customer, depends upon their process. This is the second entity. And another important entity you need to consider here is the application architecture. Application architecture plays a very important role for DevOps. In general, on DevOps perspective, we have two types of application we consider. Like one is a monolith application architecture, and another thing is your microservice. Application architecture. So if you remember, in our waterfall model, we use the term monolith. Remember? So monolith application architecture, it was used in the very initial stages of our software development process. So this monolith application architecture, it is tightly coupled. Tightly coupled means, consider I have an application with around 10 functions or 10 features or modules. So all these 10 functions and features are developed together. It can be a same program also sometime. If you see the legacy code, I worked on some core legacy mainframe related applications and all. Okay. So there, if you see the code, right, a program will be having around 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 lines of code. One program will be having around 10,000 plus lines of code. Do you believe? It is not meant for one service or one function. That entire program will be having n number of functions defined within that. So if a program is having 100 functions defined, and if you want to make a change in one function, is it easy to quickly implement it?
No.
For example, this is my application. In this application, I have around 10 functions, assume that. If I write one program with all these 10 functions, and if I want to make a small change in one function alone, even if you make a change in one function, you have to test your entire application, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
You
So
have
that
to
is a
make
main
changes in each
drawback.
and every step, right?
That is the main drawback of using waterfall model, and that is the main reason why your waterfall model cannot accommodate the new changes in between. Because already I am going with this flow. In between, if I make any changes, I have to test my entire application once again, right? Which will increase the time frame, everything. So that is the reason in our waterfall model, we never encouraged to introduce new features in between. If you want, you can just work as a new enhancement. Correct. So that was the case which was used in your monolith application. It is tightly coupled. All the dependencies are defined together. Okay. And it is not that easy to break this dependency. So your traditional waterfall model were using this monolith application architecture. Even in Agile also, we never recommended this. That is the reason we can achieve continuous delivery there. Okay. And now your Agile methodologies as well as your waterfall model, sorry, as well as your DevOps strategy will be using your microservice architecture. So here the application are loosely coupled. Okay. So when I say dependencies, here we can say like functions or modules. And here each and every function or the module are defined as a independent service. Correct. So it means in your traditional waterfall model or in a monolith application, the entire application composed of various functions, right? But here the whole application is divided into microservices. That's what the very important thing to consider. Small pieces, small services. Like in your waterfall model, in this example, if you consider all this in the function means same project, if you want to develop using DevOps, here we never consider a function, it is a service. Inventory management service, payment service, database service, like that. Why it is considered service means so that it can be independently developed, independently tested and implemented to production environment without any manual intervention. So very important point here is to achieve continuous deployment. Okay. This is used to achieve continuous deployment. Simple as that. So it means even if you are following a DevOps strategy, if you want to achieve continuous deployment, that application architecture should be a microservice application architecture. If you are working on an application which is monolith in nature, it happens. Even the current project which I'm working, right, it is a kind of a hybrid environment where I have some set of applications that are still running in my on-premises environment, okay, with monolith architecture. So if the application architecture is monolith, means we can achieve continuous delivery, not continuous deployment. Is the can you able to understand the difference between monolith application architecture and microservice?
Hello.
Yep.
Um, Actually, I just wanted to ask something. Is it a first class going on?
Yes, today is our very first day of our session, and
Yeah, I actually, is there anyone? I just want to know, is there anyone from 8 p.m. back in
uh,
this team?
yeah, actually, your sorry for others, guys. 1 minute. Actually, this is our regular session will be scheduled right
Mm.
8 p.m. to 9 p.m. during weekdays, correct? But
Yeah.
for initial 2 weeks, that is from today till February 7th, right? You'll be joining at 8 a.m. IST, 8 to 9. Correct. So from 10th Feb onwards, it will be a regular evening session. Is that fine?
Is it like 7 to 9 or 8 to 9?
7 to
I
9,
mean
sir.
7 to 9, sorry, 7 to 9.
Okay. And because we already completed this and we were in Linux part, that's why I was asking.
Oh, okay. So it means you need to check like whether you have been merged to this batch. Not sure. Like, let me check on that as well. Your name?
Yashaswini.
Yes, Ashwin, right? Okay, I'll check with it. Hmm?
I don't know who and all were there in that batch, so I was.
No,
Even
no,
I
no,
was there.
I
no
wasn't
worries.
there.
Oh, it means you already completed DevOps introduction module and Linux also.
Oh, yeah, we have
Yeah,
completed
yeah.
the session already.
Yes, sir. Linux was running, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, we just completed the Linux commands. Not completed,
okay.
but we are at that stage.
Okay, so it means all these terms and all something you must have done already, right? These things. And I can see some of you are completely new today's session, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is.
Ah,
Yes,
okay,
right.
okay, then
Yes, we
it's
are new.
fine. Just go with the flow. This is the very first day of our DevOps introduction, so just go with the flow, okay? There won't be any impact here. Fine. Sorry, others here. Sorry for that interruption. And now, any questions on this process between your monolith and microservice?
Yes, I just want to ask, in DevOps, we are using both the applications like monolithic and microservices, both are required.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Both
achha.
the architectures will be there in the customer front.
According to requirements, will implement.
Yeah, I'll give you one scenario, okay?
Yes, any real-time example like that.
Yeah, I'll give you one scenario. Listen, please. So consider one of my customers, okay, like what they wanted to do, they wanted to implement DevOps, okay, and their applications, whatever they use, it is still running on their own data center. It is on their on-premise environment. They have their own dedicated environments, database servers, storage servers, everything. And they just want to bring agility to the process. And at one point of time, customers are not ready to, maintain their on-premise environment. They wanted to go for cloud adoptions. They want to migrate to the cloud platform. So migration means what are the applications they were running on their own server has to be migrated to the cloud platform now. It's a huge cloud migration effort. We did that. And while doing this, we have noticed that the applications, whatever running on their own server, it was running almost 30, 35 years old applications. Okay. So 35 years old application means by the time of development, there were no process called a microservice or agile. They were using the typical monolith application architecture. They have a huge application components which are tightly coupled to each other. So in such situations, what we can do, if you want to move to cloud platform, we always recommend to use microservice based architecture. So during this effort, we will try to convert that monolith application to microservice. That is the first priority we'll give. What are all the components that can be converted from monolith and microservice, we can convert and migrate to cloud platform. First point. And what are all the new components they want to develop that should be developed using microservice architecture only. They never rely on monolith anymore. That is the second point. We were able to achieve it successfully. But while converting the existing monolith application to microservice, right, some components are very critical. It is not that easy to break the dependency. If you try to break the dependency, it might break the entire business flow, application flow. So in such situations, what we can do, we can just leave that highly critical application as it is. Don't disturb that monolith application. Let it run in its own way. And what are the new things you want to introduce? Just introduce with microservice. So now a customer is having both monolith as well as microservice applications in their platform. Correct?
Yeah, I have one
So this
question
is
for
one
that.
scenario.
No.
So in this scenario, while implementing DevOps, what we should do means we have to take care of both the workflows, like your DevOps strategy what you're going to define, and the automation, what you're going to perform, right? It should able to implement for both monolith as well as microservice. So if you want to implement DevOps for monolith application, we cannot implement continuous deployment. You have to go through some approval process and achieve it through continuous delivery strategy. And all the microservice applications can be done through your continuous deployment strategy without any manual intervention. You can implement it. Easy? Does that answer the question?
Yes, yes.
Any other questions on this?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Mohsin. So for this monolith application, so we need to change something from the client end. So how we can perform this from that our end? Means we can change in the microservices or they are delivering from their end.
It is completely owned by the development team. The application architects, the application owners, they have to take that responsibility. Got it? It should be done from the application team only. It's a very huge effort actually. Got it? Let's say if you want to convert from monolith to microservice, or if you want to create any new microservice, it is purely depends upon that application architecture. You see?
Yeah,
Because on development, you can see, right, there are 3-tier application architecture, 2-tier applications, right? So depends upon that, the application team can take the call. You see?
Yeah. Okay.
So for the implementation of DevOps, these are all the things you have to focus. It is not just completed. We have a lot of things to consider. Right. Infrastructure, the team, and then the architecture. And another interesting factor in the list is the DevOps stages. Okay. So we have 20 more minutes time, and this topic is a bit lengthy. I'll try to accommodate. Okay. Otherwise, we'll continue the next session also. So when it comes to your DevOps stages, right, listen carefully. We have various stages of DevOps, starting from your continuous development, continuous integration, continuous testing, delivery, and deployment. Because both are meant for production release, so I can add both things together here. And then your continuous monitoring. So these are all the various stages of DevOps. If you are part of DevOps team, definitely you'll be involved in any of this as a core responsibility, or you'll be involved in all these things in real time. So this will be your path. Okay. Now, what it is all about. As a DevOps resource, you have to be very clear with all these things in detail. What is continuous development? Any guess? What do you mean by continuous development here? At least what you understand from the term continuous development, what it could be.
Developing the
Current,
application based upon the changes.
taking enhancement in current application.
Developing a feature.
Keep one thing in mind. This continuous development, continuous integration, testing, and delivery, all these things are already available in your agile methodology. If you're going to have the same in DevOps, means you should have some more value on top of it, right? So on DevOps perspective, what you meant by continuous development, that is what you need to understand here.
It's like
So automating the
automation, feedback,
development.
reflection.
Sorry, one
Automating the development.
automating the development.
Iterative improvements using the development side.
So getting information from both development and operations team, then develop a function.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for all those inputs. So listen, please. So continuous development means, listen, it is the capability of the development team. That means your application development team. When I say capability, I'm not specific to any single resource. I'm talking at the team's level. Okay, at the team capability actually. So it is a capability of any application team to continuously develop the application source code. Okay, based on the business requirements. This is in general. Even Agile also tell the same. Okay, in Agile method also we use the same term. Obviously, we're going to use the same. But on DevOps perspective, right? This continuous development, this on DevOps perspective, aims to improve the developers' productivity. Okay, that is a very important thing to be considered. So using DevOps, if you are saying that you are able to achieve continuous development means, it means it is promptly focusing on the developers' productivity. How we can able to improve the developer productivity. That will be the core objective here. It is not about continuously I'm developing the code. How you develop, how productive your developers are, right? That is what the key agenda here. So now to address this, right? First, we need to understand the role of any developer. What is the primary role of any developer? Let's say if I recruit a developer means, what is his primary role? What is the agenda?
Based on the requirement, they have to code it.
Any developer should able to understand the requirement documentation and able to code it. And whatever they code, they should be able to ensure that the code is working as expected. At least the unit level testing, they should be able to make it successful. So the core responsibility of developer is to create the source code. Correct. That is what the core responsibility of any developer in any IT process. But are we using the developer just for coding? In your traditional methods, using agile methods or waterfall method, developers, they have to create the code and once the source code is ready, they have to build the source code by themselves manually. So building the code means it is a process of compiling the source code. And create artifacts. So the program, whatever they have written, let's say if they're writing a .NET C# program or a Java program means the program is written in high level language. It has to be properly compiled and converted to the binaries, the artifacts, executables. So artifacts are nothing but the binaries here. Hope you're all aware of the term binaries. Executable code of your program, like it can be in the form of exec files or DLL files or WAR file, right? Or jar file kind of things, right? So the program, whatever the written high level language has to be compiled, check for the compilation errors. And if it is error free code, it should be converted to a executable code because only the executable codes are deployed to target environment. For example, in your desktop machine, if you download any software through internet, what are you downloading? Let's say I have downloaded my SQL Server Management Studio. I download the source code of this tool or I download the executable of the code tool. it is the executable, right? The exec file I download. So only the exec files, the binaries are deployed to the target environment. So this desktop machine is the target environment for this particular software, right? So that conversion should be done as part of your build. So once the code is built, artifacts are created, then developers have to perform the unit level testing. The unit testing has to be done. Let's say a developer has created one function. He has to thoroughly test the function. Just his function only has to test it and ensure that the function is not having any issues. Once unit level testing is completed, then only he'll be promoting the code, promote the changes to further test environment. Like it can be your, here you can understand the environment now. It can be a QA or UAT. After promoting the code to test environment, the developers have to send the email notifications to the testing team stating that I have promoted changes for further testing. Please take it for further testing and update the same. Like that, they'll be mentioning all the details about the changes and notified testing team, right? So all these things are something, done by developers. People who are already working, you must be aware, right? Are you guys able to relate now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So it's all your core activities, right? Even if you're using agile methodologies or traditional process, we are doing all these things. So this is what DevOps take it as a consideration. I recruit my developer just for coding, but apart from coding, we are making developers to do all these activities, which will have a direct impact on their productivity. So how I'm going to add value to this means using DevOps approach. Okay. So we are going to automate all these things. So sorry. Using DevOps approach, we expect the developers to create the source code. And once the source code is ready, we expect the developers to update the source code changes in the source code repository. That's it. It can be your GitHub repository or Azure repositories or GitLab, whatever it is. So we are going to update it in the source. I'll talk about the source code repository in detail. We have a dedicated module to understand that. As of now, understand it is a repository or a platform where we can able to manage our source code. What all changes the developer creates, they can just save it in their environment. Easy. Now, once the code is available, all these activities, whatever we are going to do, right? Everything can be automated using DevOps. That's what the process. So we can automatically pick up the code, perform the code compilation, convert it to artifacts, perform the automated unit testing, promote the code to higher environment, and also automate the email notification testing team. So with this, developers can focus only on the business logic development. They no need to worry about all these efforts. So this is how we can able to improve the productivity of developers by using DevOps strategy. And this is not there in your agile methodology. Easy? Can you able to understand this? Am I making things clear to everyone or any confusions?
It's clear,
Please
sir.
respond.
Clear, clear.
All right. So now to achieve this, what are all the tools we are going to use? That is also very important because at every stage of DevOps, we should clearly understand the purpose of that stage and then the tools we are going to use there. So in order to achieve this, we recommend the developers to use some intuitive IDEs. Like ID means the integrated development environment. right? We can have something like your Eclipse based IDs, like your and then your PyCharm, Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is meant for .NET developers, and then we can use your IntelliJ or any Eclipse based IDs they can able to use for development. Why we expect the developers to use this means it is called as an integrated development environment. It means this ID can be integrated with any additional tools related to DevOps. So for example, here we are expecting a developer to create the source code and save it in the source code repository. So they no need to manually get into the repository and add the changes. So through their ID itself, they can able to connect to the GitHub repository. It is possible. So as soon as they're done with the changes, just with a simple commit, they can able to update the remote repository. So it just makes the developer's effort more easier. That is the reason we just expect this. And in addition to that, we can use something called Git also. It can be Git or GitHub. I'll talk about what is Git and GitHub in detail in upcoming sessions. Any question on this? Any question? So that is all about your continuous development and how we can able to implement it. What is the continuous integration means? Again, it is also done by the developers. Here, the continuous integration means it is the capability of any application development team to continuously integrate their code changes for further testing. That's it. Okay, it is used to continuously integrate the change for further tests. Let's say I'm done with my changes, right? So developers can save the changes to the source code repository. Now, how this changes can be taken to your production or test environment? Not production, actually, test environment. That is what your continuous. So the process of automation, whatever you recommend to improve developers' productivity, are actually done using this approach here. Easy. So it means as part of continuous development, developers can simply create the source code and update the source code in the source code repository. That's it. This actual automation of identifying the source code, performing the build, creating unit test cases, and executing unit test cases and all, actually done through this integration. And now, as part of your code integration, your changes will be available in test environment. Easy. And to implement this, there are certain tools to be used. Okay. So what are the tools we are going to use here means, again, we are going to rely on all these IDEs because from there only the actual trigger happens. Right? And in addition to that, we use some build tools. Right? Because here we are going to perform the build automation. We are going to perform the unit test automation, code promotion. So we can able to use some build tools like Maven, Gradle, or if you're using your Python, you can use your Python, or if you're using your .NET, you can use your .NET SDK. What are build tools will be used? So the purpose of the build tool is to identify a source code, compile a code, and create the artifacts. And then some unit testing tools. Like JUnit or TestNG can be used for this purpose. And how we can able to automate this? Let's say I want to automate my build, unit test, and a code promotion. For that, I can use some build orchestration tools like Jenkins. Jenkins is a build orchestration tool through which we can able to automate this process. It integrates your build tools, integrates your testing tools, and integrates your target environment for automation. And this also can be done either as artifacts or it can be containerized. If you update your changes to target environment using containers, in the case, you must be needing your Docker, or it can be your Kubernetes non-prod environment, right? Or it can be using your Ansible. We can able to integrate the changes for further testing. Easy? Any question?
This automate process is used in both the development phase also, integration phase also, and but we are using the different tools, right?
Listen, please.
Huh.
In development phase, continuous development phase, developers will be doing only this two activities. We never do this here in development phase. Developers can able to continuously develop, create the source code and save it to their source code repository. How the changes are taken to the production environment by using this, testing environment by using this continuous integration. So here I use these terms just to make you understand that these are all the activities that developers are doing through their manual effort, right? So this can be completely nullified and automated through your DevOps approach. Correct?
So that means
So
that
in continuous development, developers can use their IDE, create the source code and save it in the source code repository. From there, if they want to do some sort of automated testing and code promotion, that comes under your continuous integration stage.
so sir, that means I automate functionality, all these things like developed by the DevOps team, not for
Yeah.
the core development team.
Yeah, code developers are focusing only on the business application development.
Okay.
Developers are not going to do also automation process here. Right.
Understood.
So yeah, any other question? Any other question on this process? All right. So there is one more important thing to be considered. Okay, like I'll talk about it. Just a beginning, right? We have a lot of things to discuss. So we just done with the development and integration, and then we have a few more stages to be covered. So I'll stop with this for now, considering the time. So in tomorrow's session, we'll continue with our remaining topics. All right. So if you have any question, you can utilize this time now. And I'll be sharing this document. Tomorrow, you'll be getting this document from me. Got it? So any questions? Is that manageable to all?
One question, just can you explain once more the difference between loosely coupled and tightly coupled? That coding example you gave, that billing process.
Okay, so when it comes to your monolith application architecture, the entire application will be developed including all its dependencies and the core functionalities together. We have these many functions identified, but it's not developed as a separate entity. Correct? So it is tightly coupled in nature, and what are all the functions you have to develop all these things together. And the execution of one function is depends upon another function. That is how the architecture was introduced in very initial stage. So the main drawback here is even if you make any changes in one function, your entire application has to be tested thoroughly.
Okay.
Right. So to overcome this difficulty, what we do, we want to segregate this. Instead of dumping everything together, we just segregate and independently develop those things, right? Using your microservice architecture. So in microservice architecture, each and every function you're going to develop It is considered as a service, microservice, which can be independently developed. It will be
Okay.
having its own source code base. Correct. So changes
Yes.
whatever we make will not impact others.
Right.
Easy.
Done.
All right. Any other questions from anyone? Are we guys comfortable with this flow? Or if you think I'm going fast or unable to make the things clear, please let me know right away so that we can plan it accordingly in the upcoming sessions. Say something, yeah. What's happening?
Yeah, it is good.
Fine with this flow.
All right then. So I'll stop this for now. In tomorrow's session, we'll continue the remaining topics. And yes, thank you all. We'll connect tomorrow.
Thank you, Lakshya.
Okay,
And
sir. Bye,
is there
sir.
any
Thank you.
poll or like any poll you have here? 1 minute. I think there is some poll actually. 1 minute. Let me launch that poll. Hmm? Yes. So I just enabled the poll here. Please spend some time. I hope you got the poll right. Yes. So yeah, please respond to that. Any suggestions for freshers or non-IT means? Yes, we do have. Don't worry. I'll talk about that while we progress. That's the reason I just wanted to understand your current role. So I'll talk about that while we progress. Must be. Okay. Fine. Yes. Yes. People who are given their feedback, yes, you can log off. Thank you. Thanks for your time. We'll connect tomorrow.
Thank you, Lakshya.
Yeah. Bye.
So today we will be getting the recordings or tomorrow?
We'll be sharing it. Okay. In another 6 hours, it should be available. So you'll be getting those notifications. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
But the class notes, I'll be sharing it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
So when you say not clear, please let me know what is not clear. Okay. Just like that, you can't say it's not clear. Hmm?
Oh, sorry, I have another doubt. So, see, when I have to upgrade my skills for the I have to prepare myself for the solution architect role. So, so this entire course, after learning this entire course, will I be able to take up that architect role?
So
Hello.
architect in the sense like you're focusing on DevOps stream or like a
Yeah,
solutions architect.
exactly. No, DevOps architect.
What is your overall experience now?
It is 9.
9 years in DevOps. Do you have
Not
any experience?
no. DevOps it is a new for me. I'm learning for the first time.
Okay, so architect will be too far. You can consider like a DevOps lead, senior
Okay.
DevOps lead you can appear because at least you should have some business experience, right?
Yeah.
To get into that level. So as the DevOps lead, you can able to travel for a couple of years,
Okay.
and that experience will give you more no exposure to architect level.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking is that the current role which I'm doing, I have involved in the getting the requirements from the client and then I have worked
That
for
doesn't
the.
matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't
Okay.
matter. Okay. So on paper or a workplace, what is it's fine. But
Hmm.
I'm talking about the core implementation actually. Okay.
Okay.
So as a senior DevOps lead, you can able to plan your career. That will be a
Okay.
safest way. Like consider you want to appear, I mean, you want to attend an interview as a DevOps architect means the expression will be very heavy,
Okay. Okay.
all right? But if you mention like a senior DevOps lead,
Mm-hmm.
in that case, you can able to understand with this knowledge, you can able to easily crack that interview. Once
Oh,
you get into that, after downline, after 1 or 2 years, you can able to move to that level.
okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks all. Bye.